know, I'm ready for this. Are you guys ready? Jay?
Clearly, I'm not scared to have an opinion and talk, but I think there's an interesting part of when you're playing games. Generally, it's like you're constantly engaged. There's constant input, and when you're watching TV, you might be flipping the channels, and there's sort of this different pace of input. It might be every 5 minutes you do something, and there's got to be stuff in between. There's got to be experiences where it goes back to a choose-your-own-adventure book, where every few pages you turn to a different page because you made a choice. I could definitely see more TV and entertainment experiences starting to become, well, hey, you've got a choice now. Maybe every minute or so you sort of decide something, if we can get enough content in there that you can make those choices. So I think there's a lot of room from where we are now, where we're hammering on those buttons every split second, to what's happening on TV when you're doing absolutely nothing, you're just watching. There's got to be a middle road in there that we'll find and has some interactive experience to it.
I mean, one huge thing that's happened in the last 5 to 10 years is people are hiring writers now. To that guy's point, people are really hiring. I mean, the era of bad game writing, it's not acceptable anymore. You know, we're beyond that, and that's a good thing. But we still haven't really seen relationships in games. We still haven't seen games that are terribly moving, or, you know, they're always sort of catharsis. They're always sort of, you know, visceral experiences. But, you know, but Heavy Rain, I didn't love it. In fact, I was really annoyed by it. But it did, at least it tried something a little different, and it tried to evolve, even though I don't think it did. It tried, and so I give it a little credit. Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to.
Oh.
Well, as far as like pushing like actual mature content, not just, you know, people getting their heads blown off or whatever, you know, the actual like mature stories like Heavy Rain attempted to do. Like I think as an industry, like there's a lot of people that are interested in doing that sort of thing, but as you know, the government and our society, I think actually is not ready to let us go where we want to go with games, because we have to, you know, we still are in a marketplace that is governed by rules. And if you've ever dealt with trying to get a game of any sort, basically approved in many countries, you have to go, you really start to think about what the cultural norms are for all the different countries in the world, and how those regulations really control the content in which you can actually put into your game and have a marketable game. For instance, like in Germany, like I have no idea how you guys are going to get approved in Germany, but no, not in Germany. But on the other hand, like basically in the States or North America, like violence is acceptable. Like, so, like, to have a mass market game and also push actual story elements that involve these mature relationships and sex, it's kind of a fine line between, you know, making a marketable game and actually getting somewhere where people in the mass media, or like yourself, my friend, or, you know, will say, oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. That's the kind of mature story that I respect and I deserve as a mature gamer, right?
We still have time for a few more. How about this guy right here on the end? Nice. The future of gaming. What do you got for us up here for our panel of experts?
Since you were talking about the ESRB and trying to get approved in different countries, how do you feel, or what are your thoughts on censorship in the future for games, and how digital distribution might affect that?
Another good question. These guys are good. I gave away my 2 prizes already, or else you would get one.
The small thing I notice is that it depends how you distribute. I believe Android doesn't filter and approve what's being, so Google's much more an open place. I think there is probably a porn app on that because they're not approving it. They're saying, hey, if you want to distribute through us, go for it. Whereas if you're going through Microsoft or Sony and others, they want to make sure they're sharing something that's safe to go into the family household. So there's a lot more approvals. So digital distribution gives many different avenues to get stuff out there.
Okay, I'm sorry, there's a guy in the middle. He's got his hand up here. This is nice man. Can you get the microphone to him?
Okay, just to change back to a couple channels ago. What about other technologies like BCI, like brain control interface? There's already a
I was
game.
trying to get to that. These guys wouldn't go there. It's a
It's
good
all
question.
about the
though.
social.
Try
I
it
don't
again.
know.
Keep going. Push.
Like, do you think that's the next thing? I do. So,
What do you guys think? Have you guys explored this at all? Have you guys talked about it? Can you control?
Jay,
Yeah.
does Microsoft have one?
We're talking about Natal currently. Microsoft's into far too many things.
Ted, you got
Just as a gamer myself, I don't see it being very practical. I'm sure you'll see BCI and other sort of similar kinds of approaches, but a controller is actually a really accessible way of playing a game. The Wii is another good example that I think is pretty effective at getting people active, but plugging into your brain or similar sort of approaches, I think
Just
probably,
a hat. You just put the
Well,
hat on.
I just think it's going to appeal to probably a very small market, and the mass market probably will be looking more for a casual way to sort of plug in figuratively to a game or a gaming experience.
It does seem like Nintendo with its silly vitality sensor. Have you guys seen what is this thing? What is it? Are these things just novelties? Are they are they just trying to just make stuff? Oh, here comes Jay again.
I'm personally looking for glasses, so as I turn my head, I can not have to worry about the TV, Natal, Wii, other things. Yes, I should feel like I'm doing stuff and turning around to shoot somebody, and the TV's still right there in front of me, and I can't really turn around and feel that motion. So I'm looking for, as we get freed up from the screens and can actually move around. Maybe I'll end up with an iPad strapped out in front of my chest or something, but I'm looking forward to when we get freed of the screen.
It seems like the general consensus is that it's not more peripherals, but less at this point. That's the direction. You don't need a controller. You just touch the screen. Or you just wave your arms around like a fool. Jason?
Yeah, I'm not a huge Wii fan. I'm not the kind of guy that wants to sit there and flail my arms in front of the TV. I like sitting back with a beer close by and playing with an old-fashioned controller. But I'm old school. But watching some of the control mechanisms change over the last little while has been amazing. Every morning when my 2-year-old son and my 4-year-old daughter crawl into bed and we want to get an extra half-hour sleep, we throw them the iPhone. And to watch a 2-year-old be able to scroll around and find his own apps is amazing. And if you handed him a 360 controller, he's not going to find his app and he's not going to have any fun. And I'm not going to get any more sleep. So I'm digging the touch stuff.
There's lots of uses for the iPhone. Distract 2-year-olds. That's another use for it. So, anybody else have a comment on that? Not on the 2-year-old, but on the general consensus that we're moving away from peripherals and controllers. Trent?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that there's two things though that are going on there. To me, there's the controller issue and whatnot, but the whole other thing though is that those things all forced games to get simpler, which was the side effect. And I think that that's as big a win as anything else. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that just can't handle all 12 buttons on a hardcore console controller. And the fact that these motion controllers and things like that came along, I mean, it was a novelty that interested them, but I think it's the simplicity of the games that's holding them.
Okay, another question. This lady in the front here.
I'm actually really interested in the future of what you guys think of portable games, because right now the iPhone is really good because it's very accessible, but I'm wondering if you want to drive more of the hardcore gamers to be portable, so if maybe the future consoles are something you can pick up and carry with you. Oh, I see Dave, so
Well, one of the things that we talked about earlier, we kind of alluded to, were this kind of cloud computing or like services like OnLive. And if you've ever seen the demo for it, you should look it up. If you haven't seen it, that is, because it's going to bring accessibility to of these hardcore games, these like super high-end console experience or PC experiences, to a mass market. The barrier to entry is lowered immensely. Not that the iPad is a super cheap device, but anything with a web browser capability, you'll be able to play a hardcore game on.
You mean streaming it, right?
Streaming it,
okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not saying that the latency, like I'm still skeptical, but from all of the demos I've seen, it's very impressive. So like for me, like not only like the smaller games, but like everybody's going to get a bigger market just from this type of technology.
Any other further comments on the subject? It's a good question, by the way. You guys are good.
I'll throw one thing in there,
Go ahead,
which
Trent.
is that, I mean, yes, we've already seen huge advances in the cloud platforms. We use Amazon a lot, which really lets us run our own Linux instance in the cloud. So we're already looking at offloading game engine features to the cloud and having some of our mobile stuff leverage the power of that.